Ladies and gentlemen, the American jury and Bulldog Nation, Kamala is heading to Texas, to El Paso. Doesn't that sound like a book or a movie or a little kid's book? Kamala goes to El Paso. What's funny about this, there's several things about funny, is I always wanted to ask this question. Why not just go, Kamala? I mean, from the time that she was appointed the border czar, why not just go the border? Just go. The defiance that these people have, the far left has, to do what they really should do, just to prove that nobody can tell them what to do, is hysterical. Why not just go? Then Trump's going next week, so miraculously Kamala decides to go this week. And allegedly, El Paso is not the right place to go. It's not in like ground zero, the epicenter of the border crisis. Obviously, there's some relation and connection, and she'll see some things. But it's really comical. But now she's trapped, though, too. When she goes down there, what's she going to report? What's she going to say? Oh, boy, this is going to be good. Kamala goes to El Paso. Trump is holding a July 3rd rally in Sarasota. We always like to announce anything that Trump's doing, because that's what we want to do, is we want to support the former president as much as we can. So if you live in Florida, or you don't, and you want to go to a big rally July 3rd, Trump's having one. Vaccinating kids, the reports keep coming out that in young adults and kids, there's a lot of serious issues to be considered with I don't understand why anybody would get their kids vaccinated for coronavirus. They're low risk to get it. They're low risk for anything bad happening to him. I'm glad that my angels have not been vaccinated. Good for Charlie Ann and Chad. Fauci, you know, it's now come out that Fauci opposed a lot of the things that Trump did to protect his Wuhan connection. And it struck me, the term fox in the henhouse. From day one, Fauci has tried to use his calm demeanor and his little innocent old man boy look and everything to try to pass himself that he is the level-headed, disinterested man of science. And it's all been a hogwash. Fauci's been the fox in the henhouse. I'm going to tell you something that I've learned about human nature. Until you get to know somebody really well, like, for example, I know who I can trust 1,000%. I know the group of people. Then I know the people that I can trust 90%. Then I know the people that I can trust 50%. And then I know the people I can't trust at all. But just, you have to analyze each situation. Remember, the con always sets up the con by doing something that makes you trust them. You got to be careful. You just can't judge a book by the cover. Sometimes you got to judge a book by the cover. But Fauci has been a fox in the henhouse. Tuna in Subway. You can't make this up. Subway has a tuna sandwich that test show doesn't have any tuna in it. They said that, they came up with this spin that, well, when you do the testing or after you cook it or something like that, the tuna goes out. What? What? Come on. The Subway gets busted. They've got a class action lawsuit. You know, what's going to be the settlement? These class action lawsuits like this always are kind of silly in the settlements. The class action lawsuit will, everybody in the class will get a free turkey sandwich at Subway. Or maybe they'll say you get a tuna sandwich at your neighborhood favorite tuna spot. No tuna. I mean, come on, Subway. How do you do that? Math. There's a workbook out there that's been apparently supported by Bill Gates and his gang that says it's racist to force somebody to get the answer right in math. Now, just imagine if you're in a field that math is really important. Let's say architecture. You're building a high rise. I mean, just think, I can hear this now in future construction of high rises, NASA spaceships. There's going to be somebody from this generation that says, well, I thought the calculation was right, but I really wasn't sure. And I was trained that it was racist if you forced me to get the right answer. I mean, is there anything more exact than math? I remember I struggled in math. I did. I mean, algebra, I struggled. I didn't mind geometry. I didn't even mind trig. But algebra, man, I struggled. Okay, my brother Thad, he was great in math, used to make fun of me. He goes, "You dumbass." He says, "Math is just easy. It's common sense. It's exact." Well, apparently not anymore. I want to go back now and retake math. Because you don't have to have the exact. I could have told Sister Francis, no. It's racist if you try to force me to get that algebra answer correct. School debt cancellations. These young kids these days, they want all their school debts because only if all their school debts canceled can they get on with marriage and having kids. Folks, I hate that you incurred school debt, but if you incurred school debt, that's the choice that you made on school debt. What about all the people that didn't go to college because they didn't want to incur the debt? I think forgiving school debt is one of the most socialism, communist things that our country's been doing. Economic Freedom Index, all-time low. I'll just leave it there. Economic Freedom Index, all-time low. Election audit polls, they show that the majority of Americans think that auditing polls, elections, are a good idea. Well, isn't that comforting? Pot. Connecticut has legalized pot because of racial disparity. Hey, if you live in Connecticut and you're white, you need to thank your black brethren for getting your pot legalized because they want because of racial disparity. You know what they're doing is they're being racist. They're basically saying, blacks smoke a lot of pot, so we got it. It's racial disparity if we don't legalize it. Isn't that racism? They're stereotypical. They're using stereotype to pass a racist bill. Golly, man. Every day. Brett Favre. Don't you wish there were more people like Brett Favre, famous people who said, man, you can't let transgender athletes in the Olympics. That's the man. That's not a woman. It's just the truth. And only a few people like Brett Favre say it. There's power when you don't give a damn. I think Brett Favre's got so much money and fame, he don't give a damn. Good for Brett. Rasmussen, 41% say Biden didn't win fairly. Let that sink in, folks. Now, this isn't an issue of who won, who lost. It's not that. It's not. 41% didn't think he won fairly. 41%? That's crazy. And they're right. We lost, apparently, during the Zoom age of academics. 1 million public school students fell off the school rolls. You talk about collateral harm, 1 million kids. Wow. Microsoft. Tom Massey has some information that he went public with yesterday that reflects that Microsoft was involved in helping Congress write big tech bills. Well, what do you know? Bulldog's right again about the American Communist 10 working together. DeSantis has passed a law. DeSantis is badass. He just keeps passing law after law to help the cause. DeSantis passed a law that allows students to record professors. Oh, the professor's going to be nervous down there now in Florida. Man, hey, you recording me? I'm allowed to. All right, Washington aid leaks. Comes out that Trump was getting subpoenas and the DOJ was going after the Washington aides because of all the leaks that were coming. Can you think of any bigger nimrods than little congressional aides running around leaking stories? God, I had a chance to work in Washington, D.C. Thank God I didn't. Ransom to hackers. Well, guess what? Our FBI head, Ray, comes out and says he would appreciate if people would stop paying ransom to cyber hackers. Hey, Ray, why don't you stop them cyber hacking us? God. TR statue outside the New York Metropolitan Museum is going to have to be taken down of the racism because there were some black statues standing underneath. Folks, TR was not a racist. He died in the White House with Booker T. Washington, the first black man to do so, the first president to do so. Of course, he took flack from it, never did it again. But come on, TR, by the way, he was Mr. Progressive before progressive was cool. John McAfee, this is the guy that did the virus protect us from viruses and computers, became a billionaire. Then he went full-blown outlaw for 10 years, living on the lam. I saw a documentary that he did where he was like videotaping himself. He had to flee Belize. The United States has indicted him for 10 years of not paying taxes. Apparently there's some other schemes. He died in a Spanish prison, and they said that it was suicide. Yet, he previously had published something where he got swacked, tattooed, and he says, when they tell you that I committed suicide, know that it wasn't true. So what are we to believe? Was he whacked or schwacked, as he says, or was it suicide? I don't know. That's a great term. He created a new word, swacked. This is the Bulldog. Every dog has their day. Don't get swacked.